Hello guys, it's Lawrence here from Lawrence's Driving School, and here is another driving test. Unfortunately this test didn't go too well, and there were a number of faults and one dangerous fault as well. As usual, we're proceeding down Orion Way on this one, and nothing seems to be going too badly wrong at the moment. The candidate could be slightly more left on that bend back there, but here we are. We're going to the roundabout. At the roundabout ahead, we're going to be turning left. So we do the mirror checks, we do the signal, and we check in for cars. It's quite busy at the moment. There is a divert around this roundabout on this test, and the candidate pulls over to the left. The view behind seems to be clear. There's a few potholes on this road we've got to take into account. My learner seems to be finding them all. There's one there. It does skip back a little bit if there's an event, if the camera thinks there's an event. But here we are, we're going to the top of the road. Now we can only go one way here. We've got the signs. No right turn, turn left only on the road, and there's a give way. Just have a quick check. And it's all clear because that's actually closed off behind. And off we go up Pytchley Road. Now, not too bad so far. There was quite a lot of faults on this test, I must say. We'll try and pick up as many as we can on the video. So I hope there was a mirror check there on that car pulling out. I think people see a learner come in and sometimes just decide to take a chance. Little do they know this is a driving test, and the examiner really isn't going to respond quite like an instructor would. They don't want to respond and put the brakes on or anything because it will cost the candidate the test. So we're taking the next left here, and one comment the examiner did make is that the candidate was driving too fast up to junctions, and we'll see if we can pick that up on the video today. This is an unusual route. This is not a usual route. I've never known a route to come this way, to be honest, but there we go. It's a real eye-opener, this route, for me. Coming down Bryant Road. I mean, we do lessons down here, but not a route. We're going to be pulling over to the left because we're going to be performing a parallel park around the white car ahead. Oh no, we're not doing it here. Sorry, my bad. We just pulled forward. This is for an angled start, so the examiner's asked the candidate to pull forward a bit extra. Checking the mirrors, just to make sure they're going to check for oncoming traffic on the angled start around the white car. And I would always signal here. I was always teach my candidates to signal there, or the students to signal, because you can't see what's behind the white car. Anticipate the bend coming up. Keep to the left of the line. I think the candidate was very nervous on this test. There was a few mistakes that they don't normally make on lessons. Now, please note there is a give way coming up. There's a hump sign, but there's a give way. Many people miss this on driving lessons. Now, my candidate has seen it. A bit late, I think. Check, check, check. To the right, and off we go. Well, hopefully the candidate saw that. We're doing a bit of a flick back there, probably because of the potholes is flicking back on the video a little bit, but off we go again. Now, there is a possibility that the examiner did use the brakes there in order to look. There is a There is a dangerous fault on this test, and I can't figure out where it was. That could have been it, failing to see the give way sign. It's a very unusual road marking system on these roads. And the reason there's a give way seems to be in the middle of the road for no apparent reason is because there are school buses that circle this route, and we need to give priority to them. That's my understanding of it anyway. It's not an easy route, this one, to be fair. It's quite complicated. A lot of meeting here in these roads, so the candidate really needs to keep an eye on what's going on. Good, hold back. Are we going to hold back again? Yeah, okay. Don't forget your right mirror check here to move around the van. And off we go, giving good clearance of the parked vehicles. I wonder, just thinking back, I wonder if the give way sign back there was where the dangerous fault came in, because I couldn't really pick up what the examiner was saying, where the fault was, but I suspect it could have been there. Oh, look at these potholes. They're crazy, aren't they? So, the end of the road. We're turning left. Keeping to the left here in case we meet a car on the bend. So important to keep an eye on the road signs and the road markings, and it's a very big weakness with a lot of students. Unfortunately, this candidate, it was a weakness. It's just practice, really. You need to practice a lot on the road systems to get very familiar with the signs and the markings. What have we got going on up here? I'm going to turn left here down Hawthorne Road, I believe. Very narrow streets here. At the crossroads, we're going to be going straight over. Let's slow this down a bit. It does look a bit fast even on the wide-angled lens. And off we go. I wonder if the candidate has delayed in seeing the lines coming up, you know, the road markings and the sign. But we're going to pull over to the left here. So just mirror checking and signalling and just pulling over to the left. We're going to be doing a parallel park now around the silver car in front. You can see it's all a bit sudden with the stopping, isn't it? I mean, there was a bit of a jolt, you know, like a thud in the car when it came to a stop there. We could stop a bit smoother than that. And just checking around. If it's all clear, pull up to the vehicle in front and parallel park behind it. Finish within 2 car lengths. Reasonably close to the curb. So off we go. We've done the mirror. Hopefully the blind spot check's been done. Didn't notice a fault on the blind spot, so we should be okay there. Stop in there. Select reverse. Car coming up behind. But if there's a reverse light on, we don't need to signal left. If there isn't, then we do. Coming around. So keep an eye on that waiting car now, because if he passes, we must stop. A vehicle on the right is not very good, isn't it? Luckily, the car's going to be giving lots of alerts if we get too close to that. And hopefully the candidate will pick up on it. Candidate was very pleased with this, actually. At the end, the candidate said it was a good Parallel park, just keep an eye on that white car behind us there. Keep coming in. Rather the candidate didn't keep stopping, I do encourage my students just to keep it in a non-stop. You stop for the turns. We do dry steering. I know it's controversial, but we are allowed to do it on the reference points. But generally, I do encourage my students not to keep stopping on these manoeuvres. Has the student finished yet? I think we can stop there. I think we're good enough. Okay, I think we need to stop, otherwise we're going to be more than 2 car lengths away from this vehicle. So when it's safe, we're going to move on. Another car coming from behind. Signal, because it's an angled start, and off we go down the road. Okay, not too bad. Could be better. Could have done it non-stop. Apart from the reference points, we could have stopped a bit closer to the car. But wide-angled lens, it's very hard to see distances sometimes with this camera. I'm going to turn left at the end there. Just slow this down a bit. It feels a bit fast, even on the video. It does feel a bit fast. And we're still looking whilst we're going over the line. Now we've got a left turn only sign on the left turn ahead only. Then we've got a left turn only sign here. This is a big mistake about to happen. The candidate moves to the left, then take the next road on the right. Candidate moves over to the wrong side of the road here and turns right from the right hand side of the road. And that is a serious fault in a driving test. You should have kept to the left side of the road, or candidate should have kept left to the left side of the road when turning right, and the candidate moved to the right side of the road, so that was definitely a serious there. I wonder if the candidate was unaware, to be honest, so I had to take the candidate there after the test to show what had happened. So it looks like we're turning left on the double roundabout system. We're checking, we're coming round a little bit close to this car. Checking again, the black car's coming. I probably would have waited for the black car because he's right behind us. Oh no, he's gone the other way, fair enough. My bad. I'm going to take the next road on the left. Parking up again. There's quite a few park ups, between 3 and 5 normally in a driving test in my experience, for all sorts of reasons. Maybe the examiner's marking the sheet and move off again. So we're pulling over again on the left. Another, probably a hill start for this one. It is on a hill. And move off when it's safe to do so, please. Check, check, check. Don't forget the blind spot. It looks like we were slightly up on that drive there, wasn't it? Slightly up the curb. We had a bit of a wobble when we moved off there. I do believe we were up on the curb slightly, and that would be a fault on a driving test. I'm not saying it would be a serious fault, but it certainly was a fault there. Nerves can play a big part in the driving test. You've really got to try and be as calm and relaxed as possible and not let it affect your driving. At the end of the road, we're going to turn left there. Oh, take the next road on the right. Okay. Yeah, very unusual route. I've not known this route before. I mean, these are the roads we always practice around these roads anyway, but the route itself is very unusual. But it was another left and an immediate right, and that would have been that. I mean, the candidate in a way redeemed themselves because they didn't actually cross over to the right side to turn right. It's a very similar junction to the one earlier where they would have definitely picked up a serious fault. So there's a bit of a redemption there, I suppose, but it doesn't help with the result of the test. It's still, unfortunately, it's still going to be a foul. But maybe a bit of redemption there. See, this stopping it does seem to be a little bit of a drift over the line, I think, when the candidates come into these junctions. I'd definitely be encouraging this candidate to intend to stop more on the give way line and not drift over them so much. It does look like a bit of a drift while still checking. So this is going to be an emergency stop. Wait for the signal and then perform an emergency stop. You've got about a 1 in 5 chance of being asked to demonstrate this on a test. We did practice, obviously. So when it's safe to do so, drive off normally and wait for my signal. You do know the examiner is going to say stop and raise their hand because they have to look behind them first. So it's not going to be a surprise when that happens. Okay, waiting for the signal to stop. Another flick back in anticipation. There we go, we got the emergency stop. And it was interesting to see the examiner waiting for the bus to pass and the oncoming vehicles to pass so as not to confuse them with what was going on. It seems to be a learner behind. I can't really tell at this in these cameras. So it was a good emergency stop. We didn't get any faults on that I'm aware of. It looked good, didn't it? And we're about to experience the next fault. And these faults are very much related to the signs and the road markings. And this could have, I felt that this next fault coming up could have been this dangerous fault as well. Just as much as the previous one we saw earlier. But let's see. Tell me in the comments what you think the dangerous fault was on this test route. Was it this one coming up? Or was it the one I mentioned earlier in Bryant Road? Where it may have been the examiner hitting the brakes because the candidate failed to see the give way sign. Is a learner behind? Right, okay, so let's see what's going to happen. So we're coming up to junction 7, roundabout in Kettering on the A14. We've been told to turn left. You might notice a little sat nav there underneath the rear view camera view. There is half this test was following a sat nav. We're going to turn left here. Now notice the lane is left turn only on the white sign. Notice the road marking. You may have seen it on the approach as well, but underneath this van it's a left turn only lane. There are 3 lanes here. This one is left turn only. So it's either the sat nav telling the candidate to do that, or it's the examiner telling the candidate to turn left at this roundabout, first exit. It's quite clear really that the road sign, look at the arrow under the van, left turn only. You can only turn left in this lane. I think you've worked out what's going to happen, haven't you? So lights are changing. Off we go. Oh, another skip back because of the pothole, I guess. Watch what the candidate's going to do. So the examiner's pulled the candidate over, not that way. The candidate was going to go straight over, and it's a left turn only lane. That would have meant a possible collision. Now look at the green signs down this road. This becomes a joining lane. At the end of the pinch point, the lines are normal. They're normal lines, but the candidate has moved into the central lane. This is an overtaking lane, and the candidate has remained in this lane. And remains in the lane. There's no overtaking taking place. The candidate should have really come back to the left lane. They're going to be undertaken by this van. There's a van. Oh, he's holding back. That's good. Oh, he's leaving. He nearly did it though, didn't he? He nearly undertook us. So the candidate needs to come back to the left. And I think, well, this is definitely a fault, if not a serious fault. We're kind of straddling the lanes here, aren't we? We seem to be in 2 lanes there for a bit, and now we're back to the left. So the examiner's not too happy with that. So we're in the correct lane now. I don't know whether the examiner said something. But we was in the wrong lane, and the green sign down that slip road did indicate that this was a joining lane, and the road sign, the road lines coming out of the pinch point of the chevrons also told us this was a normal lane and not a slip road to join onto, to merge onto, I should say. So just recapping that roundabout earlier where the examiner took hold of the wheel there and pulled the candidate to the left into the slip road may have been the dangerous fault as well. So it's either that one or the previous one where there was a giveaway line and sign in the middle of the road, basically, in Bryant Road earlier on at the beginning of the test. So we're in a slip road now. You can see slip road lines on the right, and we are merging off, joining off into this slip road for junction 9. Let's see what happens here. We're in a bypass road. The sign said there was a bypass. The candidate was told, we're not in a bypass yet, but we will be asked to turn left. The sign on the left there shows a bypass. We're going to turn left here into the bypass. The candidate has done this many times on lessons. Seems to be on the white line there on the left a little bit. Positioning is not good. Coming round here and down the hill. We're going to turn right at the roundabout. Hopefully there was a mirror check. Something happened here with a Mini. I can't really work out what happened, but the examiner mentioned it. There was a Mini behind us. I do believe the candidate was trying to leave on the right lane, on the right hand lane here, and then the Mini driver. Yeah, it's hard to tell what happened, but the examiner mentioned this Mini. I wonder if the candidate was trying to leave on the right hand lane and then changed their mind. It's confusing there in the cameras, but the examiner did mention this Mini as a fault. So we're checking, turning left. Don't know really what happened there. So we're nearing the end of the test now. The candidate is asked to pull over again on the left. Yeah, not the best test in the world, unfortunately. There was one dangerous fault here, and there were two serious faults in this test. I'm sure we've covered them. It's very hard to tell just on video exactly where these faults were. I wasn't in the back of this test. In the back of the car, I should say. I was waiting at the test centre. An odd thing happened here. I think the candidate was asked to go straight on at the roundabout, but took a left lane. This was odd. Now we're in the left lane for straight over, but then the candidate carries on round from the left lane. Well, on a U-turn, and the examiner just said carry on round again and exit on this exit. So the examiner must have corrected the candidate. But even to go a U-turn or a circle on the roundabout like that, we needed to be in the right-hand lane, not the left lane. And it does look like things went unravelled here very quickly on this test. We're going to be turning right on the roundabout. It's the potholes that make the camera flick back, and it records an event. And we're checking, is it all safe? This roundabout can be very busy. You've just got to be very patient here. There will be a gap, there always is a gap, but you just got to be very patient. So we had lane discipline faults for not staying in the lanes. We've got positioning faults. We saw a few faults on the video. One was the curb incident on a park. Turning around the roundabout in the left lane would have almost certainly picked up a fault there. This is a straight line. The candidate should stay left on that roundabout, because we're going straight over. There are two lanes on the approach, so should have stayed left. Another positioning fault. Excuse the skip backs, it's just how the camera works. I can't turn it off. I have to use my dash cams here. I don't think I'd be allowed to GoPro the route. I haven't asked really, but I don't think so. It's a proper DVSA driving test. And we're coming back to the test centre now. Make sure you give way to oncoming traffic on this bend. Looks okay. Need to go to the third bay along because the doors open into the second bay. Nope, next bay because we can't fit there. I'm walking out of the test centre now, coming up to hear the news and the feedback from the examiner on how this test has gone. And as you probably can see, it didn't go very well for the candidate. It had one dangerous fault, 2 serious faults and quite a few minor faults. If you like this video, please subscribe and like the video. You can comment below. I will answer all driving questions, and hopefully I'll see you on the next one.